Geeta, I think first of all, thank you so much for the work that you've put in, because this something has to hit you to be able to craft solutions like these, right? So I think it's a life experience that's being translated into the work that you're doing. Unfortunately, I couldn't join in time to share my introduction with you, Geeta, and even though we're connected on LinkedIn. Let me quickly tell you what is it that I do. So we have Dr. Chakradhar Yuni as well here. Him and I, we've been trying to craft a company, which we've registered, but the model for that company is what we're calling as Infuse. That's the acronym, and it stands for Infrastructure, Food, Energy, Water, Waste, and Wellbeing of the Society. And the reason we've bunched up everything together, and a lot of people are asking us, how the hell will you deliver on these promises? So I said, I have one very interesting stream that's already curated for water. We've got like the best water leaders in the world coming together. So if you want hands on deck, we've got the right people to consult with. Now, you know, when we look at all of these streams, we are increasingly recognizing in every forum, any discussion. In fact, I'm sitting here after a conference on renewable energy and energy transition in the state of Uttar Pradesh, which is clearly the size of Tajikistan or even more. And the reason I'm saying that because we have similar energy targets. Now, we have to approach integrated solutioning for integrated challenges. We cannot sort of function in silos or look at addressing, like imagine the range of things that you highlighted. It is talking about policy, it is talking about, right? So when you look at the mindless construction that's going on and the level of concretization, so Earth is a system, it's a live creature. So you block water in one side, it'll collect somewhere else. It's that simple. It's like if I press my hand, so the blood flow is stopped, but it's collecting elsewhere. So it is, you know, in totality, what is the high level view of our institutions, of our practices? Imagine some of the indigenous practices have actually been what I'm increasingly calling beyond sustainability. I think I've stopped liking the word sustainability. For me, it gives me zero direction. So I'm moving more towards the term called nature reverence systems. When we look at nature reverence, it is so highly directional. I mean, today, if I want to check my actions, if I'm throwing a plastic bag on the street, I have to ask myself, is this sustainable? So yeah, whatever. Is this nature reference? Hell no. So something will take in me to pause and rethink my decision. And therefore, the terminology, ontologies have to be recrafted in the world that we've made and the world that we're heading to. Look at the solutions that you've shared with us. This has to, okay, so, you know, interestingly, governments in India are not looking at anything else in the new spaces. They're looking at prototypes. For them to make decisions as to where they should put their money, how much money should they get from the rest of the world to pump into it and call it development or whatever, you know, so they have a method to their madness. Prototyping is all about how many of us really understand that this is important. And A, it is important. B, this is a workable solution. So in fact, between Dr. Chakradhar and myself, we've been trying to identify villages after villages. And, you know, every time we explore and go into that space to create this prototype for the ecosystem, we are confronted by, you know, strange challenges. So now I'm here in Uttar Pradesh, and apparently the government is saying that, hey, you want 4 villages? Come and take 4 villages. So it's about really showing up in spaces where, you know, people are looking for these solutions. I'm giving you, like, I'm sure that you would know this already in your, you know, range of work that you've done and everybody else here. But this is exactly how it's working. The world hasn't changed. We still have to, you know, meet people, build a relationship with them, tell them this is important. This is what we're doing. This is where the prototypes exist. And if not, then this is where we want to develop our prototypes, and this is why and how. So I think this is I mean, how many times have I said this, you know, to a couple of people here? It's never been a problem of technology. It's never been a problem of finance or commercial aspects. It's always been the problem of intention or the lack of. So if you look at any construction company, do they lack the money and the resources to do research in terms of assessing viability? Hell no. They actually get the figures and they say, okay, you know, let's lose that and still build and still get our profits. So who are these people who put the spanner in the work? What are these agencies? How can we create a narrative and an influence based on the prototypes and the strength of what we propose to the solution? So I think it's just wonderful to see. And I think I've got a very interesting comment from Robert, who says the Chinese brought the fig company and no other large companies in NC were mandated to remove lagoons that overflow in high rain.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
QED. That's exactly what it is. So this is like the unfortunate, I mean, no offense, man, but this has always been like a big boys game. So how do we get the boys to think better? Right? How do we create these prototypes and create examples of why this should be done? For any kind of a new technology or revival of any indigenous systems also, because the styling that you're talking about is like age old. Right. So when we look at these kind of systems, how do we bring them back? How do we show them that profitability? Now, other interesting thing that I'd like to mention before I close my discourse is that people are looking at, okay, so they don't want to make the decision because it's not profitable, but they do want to understand when will this get profitable. Right. So we actually have to show that cycle, that by this time is when you would start getting your IRR and your ROI. So a system or a solution or a recommendation, or like I said, revival of any indigenous practices to include that into the modern practices, all of this requires, like you rightly said at the end, that they want to see the ROI. They want to see, when will they make money, how will they make money, and how long will it take to start making money. So I think these are some of the reflections that I would, I hope that it makes sense and it aligns with the discussion here.